I should grease my lips. I know I should do that in the mic. Can you hear that?
No, I'm just adding sound effects.
Like lizard sounds. We were
Yeah.
watching The Mandalorian last night, and they were making gross sounds like that too, because the little Yoda thing is always eating like nasty little
Babies?
slimy. Yeah, it did eat
Yeah,
eggs.
frog babies, that fucking prick. What the hell is wrong with him? Stop eating and why is it like a silly thing? Like, oh, you silly Yoda baby.
You ate one of my babies, kid.
You ate one of my babies. This is the last chance that I have to reproduce my people, and you keep fucking eating them like it's gumballs or something.
But there were a lot in the jar, so.
Yeah, that's what he was thinking too. He's like, man, I'm hungry. Let me get some more of them eggs.
No, I kind of think he would have ate every single one if they would let him.
That's why they should have just turned him loose in that ice cavern a long time ago, because he would have just taken care of that ice spider population. He would have all of them.
He can eat that fast. I also don't know why we are like 4 episodes in. He hasn't done any force-related activities yet. Like, I mean, come on, kid. You could have helped with those spiders.
I know he could have. That was the most horrifying episode I've ever sat down and watched. That I was cringing the entire time when those fucking things, it was just like aliens, and then the episode after that, he sat down at the table with all of the like Davy Jones's locker guys.
Yeah.
You know what I'm talking about?
Yeah.
And that one just like sucks
Grabbed
to his face.
Yeah.
Just like it's aliens. It is aliens. It's a face hugger. Why are we crossing these universes? But I like it.
Yeah. They're doing a good job of that.
Yeah.
So this is a podcast.
Yay, I like it.
This is Creatures of the Night podcast, and I am Wendy.
And I'm Chris.
And welcome to our show. If you are new here, this is a paranormal podcast where Chris and I take turns weekly telling each other spooky, unexplained stories from around the globe. I'm usually the one that has researched and researched for weeks to bring you an informed story, while Chris is the one that usually 9 times out of 10 has waited until the last minute to slap together some story she wrote that morning. She's such a flake. Wait, no, actually, I got that backwards. I'm sorry. That's me. I do that. I wait until the last minute. I slapped together this story this morning. But this time, at least, I have a really good reason to why I was so last minute with things. Chris, you already know this, but for everybody else, my adorable, perfect niece recently just visited for like 2 weeks. This was a very last minute decision that she was coming to visit. So most every day we were just making things up on the fly on what to do to entertain her. But I mean, I still had work. The boys still had to go to school, and I still had podcast work to do when I could.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So for the most part, we just chilled, We had dinner and we did hikes and we played games together. But I did manage to get the day off from work on the last day that she was here. So I wanted to plan something more exciting for that day. She's an easygoing kid, and when I say kid, I'm really just an old lady. She's actually 20 years old. But anyways, she's an easygoing person. She's down for like whatever I would come up with. That's what she kept telling me, at least. But you know me and yourself. We are driven by what haunted locations we want to explore, or what's something old and historic. That or more hiking for me.
Sure, there's always that. And if that takes you to a place that is also haunted, then bonus.
Doubly bonus, yes. So in this case, I had to try really, really hard to think like a regular person and ask myself, what do they do for fun?
What would they do for fun?
So I struggled with this. All I came up with is eating and shopping.
Yeah.
So I tried to blend the two worlds.
Eating and shopping at the same time? Were you just like,
no,
Amazon, right? You did couch shopping then?
Eating, shopping, and things that I like, but sneaking them in is what I mean. I told her I was going to pick her up after work and that we would go and stay downtown for the night.
Ooh.
And across the street from the place that I wanted to stay at was this sushi restaurant that I heard was really good. And then the next morning, we would go out and take the trolley down to the U of A, and we could get coffee and we can go shopping. And there's this museum that maybe we'll check out if we have enough time. Then we could take the trolley back over to 4th Avenue Street, which has a lot of little funky shops and restaurants, and it has tattoo parlors, since she was seriously thinking about getting her first tattoo. So I wanted to kind of be there for it if she was ready. I was trying to not push her, but also at the same time, let me just show you some shops just in case.
Right. Also, yeah.
Yeah.
Now would be a good time if you're still considering it.
If you
Right
just want
now.
to.
At this place.
Which she did get one, and her mom, I think, was pretty sad that she wasn't there for that. But
yeah.
I feel very flattered as her aunt to have been there. Anyways, so she agrees to all of this. And then as we're going through the motions, I slowly started to let it slip out. The hotel is haunted. The museum thing is 100% happening. I want to go there. And yeah, there's a few spiritual shops on 4th Avenue that I've got to check out.
Nice. Well, but she's down for this, right?
Yeah.
I mean,
like
yeah.
I said, she is a doll. She is just like her mom. They can have fun anywhere that they go. They're very open-minded, and they just like to go out and do things.
Yeah.
So I think she had a good time. I hope it didn't come across like I was being selfish and that we were only doing things that I like to do or whatever. I just kind of like to show people that funkier side of life. Well, I did sprinkle in some shopping and eating.
Yeah,
right?
no, I think, but it's another way of exploring. You just did it more geared towards two different sides. She wanted to explore things and shop. Okay. And here's some wild things for you to explore and shop, right?
Yeah.
Best of both worlds.
Well,
I like it.
Either way, at the end of the day, she got her tattoo. So I told her, even if this trip sucked, you're never going to forget it because it's the time that you got your first tattoo. So I win no matter what. You know what I mean? You don't forget those things.
Yeah, no, and there's just so many neat shops, like you said, to visit and explore. And she's always been very inquisitive, and her eyes are just wide open to all these new, exciting things. So I don't see her being bored out of her mind at all.
No, I think she did have a good time. And she liked the museum, too. So, I mean, you would think that a kid wouldn't be down for that. And again, I say kid, she's 20. But there was a lot of interesting things. She said a few times that she really enjoyed it. But back to the hotel real quick. It's not my story for this week, but it is definitely worth a mention. Though, sadly, we did not have any paranormal experience while we were there. But plenty of other people have. Staff, guests, as well as other paranormal investigators over the years, including Amy Allen, back in her beginner days when she had a team here in Tucson. This is the Hotel Congress, or some people, like myself, call it Congress Hotel, but it's actually Hotel Congress. Anyways, it was built back in 1919 when the need for a nice upscale hotel became evident after the train was put in and we were getting a lot of travelers that way, plus cattlemen going through the area.
Where do they put their cattle when they're staying at the hotel?
I think when they say that, they mean the rich ones, like making deals and stuff like that. I don't know. I thought that was kind of a weird statement as well.
Yeah. I just see them like coming in with all their cows, you know, and then they're just like, oh, Bessie and Nellie and all of them. Hold on, I got to go take a nap. And they're just, okay, well, what do we do?
Like there's a barn outside
like,
and stuff.
Yeah. Don't worry, Cattleman Jack. We got a barn right behind. It's also fancy.
It was originally 3 stories tall. It was equipped with everything one would need for a luxury type stay. But on January 22nd, 1934, somehow a fire started in the basement of the hotel and spread upward through the elevator shafts, totally burning the 3rd floor, which was never rebuilt. There was a quick evacuation via the hotel's windows with the help of Tucson's finest firemen and aerial ladders. A group of gangsters known as the Dillinger Gang and their leader, John Dillinger himself, who were laying low in the hotel, had escaped out through the windows and then offered a tip of $12, which at the time was a huge tip, to a fireman to go and retrieve their heavy baggage that they left in their room. Later, they found out that that baggage was guns and money that they had stole.
The firefighter wasn't like, no, man, I got like people to rescue. Thanks
well, I mean,
for the
that
money,
$12, but no,
I guess, yeah.
He actually ratted on them because he recognized who they were, and so he told the local police. And John Dillinger and his gang members were caught within a few hours in another house over on 2nd Street in Tucson. I believe they escaped from that whole situation, though I don't have those details for you.
Oh, okay. I bet John Dillinger and his team, that's, kind of like bad luck. Like they're hiding out in the hotel and now like every police officer and all the
Yeah.
firefighters are right there and they're like, oh shit, how do we get out of this scenario? So I wonder if he like tipped the firefighter, mostly just to not tell on him or whatever. And the firefighter was like, well, I'm pocketing this money and then I'm going to go tell on you too.
Thanks for that, but I'm keeping my job. Okay, officer.
Just saying, that's what I would do. Be like, thank you for, okay, no problem. Doot. Guess what?
I guess you could always pretend like it wasn't me, man. I mean, like lots of people could have seen you.
Yeah, true.
So this gangster moment is one of the hotel's biggest draws for people interested in the history. But like I said, the hotel is haunted as well, which they do promote. They do some stuff around the Halloween season, but really just around that time.
So the third floor was never reopened, so it's
No.
blocked off.
Yeah.
So for Halloween, do they like open up that third floor and be like, have a look-see? That would be awesome.
They promote doing seances there.
Ooh.
Yeah, they sell tickets to several seances throughout the month of October. Of course, they didn't do it this year, but I don't know what room they do these seances in. And now, having really explored the whole hotel, I'm like, where's the space big enough for all these people? But there's a door to the third floor, but it's locked and it has like a sign on it that says employees only. Because me and my niece started to go up the stairs from the second floor to, hey, what's up here? Trying to check out the whole place. And it was like negative. And I was like, why the fuck would they just have these stairs here that lead to nothing?
Wow. Well, that's why. Because when you said they promote seances there, I thought it was sort of like one of those things where, like, when you forget your toothpaste, you call down to the front desk and you're like, hey, can I get, like they promote seances. So you call down to the front desk and you're like, hey, do you have any pendulums that I can bum for the night?
No.
K2 meter.
But in last week's episode, my backdrop, that was a coffee table that's on the second floor of the hotel.
No kidding. Really?
And when they check you in, they tell you that. They said there's a TV room that's got some board games and whatnot, and it's got a Ouija board.
Yeah,
but
board
I didn't
games.
realize that it was a whole fucking table Ouija board. But there was no planchette. So
you just flip over a glass and that's your planchette.
I was about to say, you have to like go bring your plastic cup from the room or whatever.
Where there's a will, there's a way.
Very true. So people have reported seeing a number of different spirits in the hotel, such as the ghost of longtime resident Vincent, who had lived in the hotel for 36 years, but suffered a massive heart attack and died in his room, which is 220. Staff say Vincent still likes to tinker around the hotel, which he was known for, kind of helping out with small little handy jobs. From time to time, a butter knife is found in front of his room. Now, some said that it was because he would use a butter knife as a screwdriver to help around the hotel. And then some other people say that he would go down to the Cup Cafe every morning that's in the hotel and get his breakfast, come back up to the room, and then he'd leave his dishes outside. I did not find a butter knife, though.
No butter knives. I could see using it as a screwdriver because I have used a butter knife as a flathead before. I mean,
right.
When it's all you got. I mean,
I think that's people's excuse when they find butter knives in other places other than directly in front of his door. Okay. So they're like, he must have been using it at that time to try to fix something. I don't know. Then there is a longtime bar patrient who is a World War II veteran that has been seen in the tap room. That's what their bar is called. His apparition is usually reported being seen out of the corner of one's eyes, sitting at the end of the bar. And he seems to love the jukebox, or he seems to love controlling the jukebox at least. He often turns up the volume on songs he likes, but turns them down on songs he doesn't like.
Let me guess. All My Friends Live in Texas goes up immediately. That's got to be his jam, right?
I don't know. I didn't check it out.
You didn't have any experiences there?
Yeah, no, I didn't go in. Well, because my niece couldn't go in there.
Okay,
so, yeah. The staff has been known to leave money for him so he can play whatever he wants.
Nice.
Next is a woman who haunts room 242, who sadly shot herself in the bathroom after a standoff with the police. Somebody was saying that they think she was trying to, antagonize the police so that they would shoot her so that she wouldn't have to do it herself.
Yeah.
But I mean, that's kind of speculation because you don't really know what was in her mindset. In the end, she did take her own life, and apparently the bullet went through the bathroom wall and into the closet, and there's still a bullet hole in that closet.
Wow. Like they were just like, yeah, we're not fixing that. That's just now a part of this closet. It's too much to bother with.
They've kept the hotel very much as it was in the olden days. So I imagine, yes, they think it's part of the charm to be like, look at where somebody shot themselves. Okay.
Yikes. So, I mean, I guess if dudes walking around with butter knives trying to fix things in the hotel, maybe they didn't actually have what they needed to, spackle over that.
Maybe.
Or like you said, it adds to the charm.
Yeah. That's what I constantly kept telling my niece. When she was like, wow, this is nice. And I was like, it's charming. So that's not the room that we stayed in, but it is said that people feel cold spots right outside the door of the room, plus in the room. They have seen a dark shadow, as well as a full body apparition of the woman in the bathroom and in the hallway outside of the room.
I can't imagine that would be a happy spirit.
No. There are some people that say that they have bad dreams in that room when they've stayed there, and that they've heard strange noises. They've also heard whispering, but I guess they can't quite make out what it's saying. That's been reported by investigators and staff, and then just people staying there. But the form she's most often seen in is like a misty cloud.
That's cool.
Yeah, so I guess she can come all three ways. She's a shadow, she's a full body, she's just manifesting at different times how much energy she's got, I guess.
Well, that sounds like a fun room. We'll have to go, and you can sleep in there, and because you're the dreams person, so that would be interesting to see what kind of weird shit you get.
Yeah, they say that room just stays booked out all the time. It's right at the top of the stairs, too, so it's kind of a suck-ass room.
A shitty room.
Like, you get all the hallway noise, plus it faces the street, but the hotel's really good about on their website being like, it's noisy, guys. The whole hotel is fucking noisy. Just get ready for it. Charming. It's charming. Okay. They're cute. There was also another suicide recorded by gunshot, but this time it's a male. This happened in room 214. He is now seen peering out the window, and they've also seen him wandering around in the hallways. They say he's kind of a restless spirit. He does not like when you vacuum in the room, just hates it. But apparently if you play music from the 1920s, that calms him down and you can get your vacuuming done.
He's a puppy.
Speaking of that, I saw a TikTok video that is like a dog and then they do a voiceover. This is what the dog is saying, And the dog is like, I must tell you of the vicious creature called Vacuum. So when I read this, I thought of that right away.
Yeah.
And then somewhere on the first floor of the hotel, a man was shot dead over a card game somewhere in the 1920s to 30s. He is seen dressed in like a pinstripe gangster type suit, just hanging around the first floor. Then there's a female entity, possibly a former owner or hotel manager, just because she's seen most often on the staircase and she's just kind of watching everybody. So they think that she's watching like the front desk and the lobby and just making sure everything's going okay. She's dressed in early 20th century clothing, including a dark high button-up collar and a wool skirt.
Okay.
Oh, they also say that they smell roses whenever she's present.
She's got that cheap rose perfume going on.
They must not have paid very well as the hotel manager. There's also a ghost maid seen carrying linens down the hallway.
How helpful is that?
Well, she's even makes some people's beds. So I'm sure the staff that works there now appreciates that.
When people are out of the bed, not while they're in them. Right?
When they're out of it.
Okay.
They also say that they see her entering and leaving rooms without ever having to open the door.
Oh, she just kind of like
floating
passes
through.
right through.
Yeah.
That's convenient, for the maid to not have to worry about all of that. So she's got her arms full anyways with linens.
Yes.
Sometimes having to get that door and the card and whatever. She just...
Well, that's the thing. There's no card. It's an actual key that if you leave the hotel, they ask you to leave it at the front desk. They don't want you losing it. That's how serious they are. And it's got a big old keychain to it. So yeah, dealing with all that and stuff, she's like... Forget that nonsense.
That. Yeah, right. You remind me of like when you were in school and you had to go to the bathroom and the key was on this huge hunk of wood and it was a chain. Yeah. That's what they do at this hotel. They're like, drop it off at the front desk. Clack.
And lastly, there has been a little boy and little girl spotted playing in the halls, and people have heard like children playing. And this is not exactly a hotel that's child friendly. You can stay there with your kids, but that's not necessarily the hotel you would pick for that kind of thing.
Sure.
So they said that they've seen these children when there should have not been any children in the hotel. They say they're around 7 to 8 years old.
Oh, wow. Okay.
But even with all the activity, like I said, I made no attempt to investigate any of these claims other than just being there and hoping something strange would happen.
Yeah.
I was trying to focus on spending time with my niece, just being polite. Plus, the hotel is noisy as fuck. Like I mentioned, most of the rooms, or at least the one we were definitely in, face the busy street. And so we got all that noise. It's an old hotel, so it just lets in a lot of noise and cold air, I guess.
Sure.
Because it was freezing that night in our room.
Oh, or was it the cold air being let in? What room did you get? Did you get any haunted room? Or, I mean, it's in a haunted hotel, so clearly it's a haunted room.
It was such a last minute decision. None of those rooms were available, so we just got a room.
Yeah.
I mean, but they're all on the second floor. So
right.
I did walk around the hallway and we hung out that, waiting for something to happen. But
if the maid's just going in and out, I mean, it sounds like these guys can wander around and do kind of what they want. So
right, yeah. Now, for anyone that's investigated this hotel, I can't see how you can get away with doing anything other than taking pictures. Because like I said, it's noisy and there's people and all of that. So yeah, pictures, photographs, that's the only thing that you could really do. I mean, I guess you can do spirit boxes and all that stuff, but all that stuff's questionable.
More noise.
yeah, to add to it.
Yeah. Well, I mean, smell-o-meter whenever they do pull that one out. Because if the roses are coming around, you want to capture that somehow.
For sure. Yeah, there is that one then when it comes out. Photographs and that. So like I said, nothing really happened. And after our noisy, chilly night in the charming old hotel, we woke up and went out and got coffee and headed to the Arizona History Museum, which I didn't even know about. It wasn't even on my radar until months ago. You sent me a text about this place, and I've just been checking to see when they were going to open up because they closed down for the pandemic. But remember, you sent me like a picture, you probably don't, it was so long ago, but it was like a picture of an old wagon, like stagecoach type wagon or whatever. And it was like, did you know about this place? And I was like, no, but it looks fucking awesome.
Oh my God.
It's back open for now, and it's totally worth a visit. It's full of stories and artifacts from all over Arizona. That night, I pretty much did like a slideshow presentation for my boys that did not give a shit, but I'm just sitting there showing them all the pictures and retelling the stories. It was stuff like the time that the Army bought camels and brought them to Arizona because they thought that that was better than like horses, that would work. It didn't. And I don't really know why, but those camels ended up going to a zoo in California.
Well, that's better than a slaughterhouse.
Very much so.
Camels are assholes, so that's got to be why it didn't work out, right?
I think so, yeah. Yeah, they were like, okay, or horses are actually faster and all this jazz. You know, I don't know what we were thinking. Actually, camels can be really fast, but
they can be.
Maybe just on their own terms.
It's totally on their own terms. Yes.
There also was the big old thing that's behind me right now that you're looking at. So that was a part of this whole section that they had recreated to kind of look like a mining camp. And there was a mining tunnel and there was little carts. It was impressive because you just turn the corner and there's this giant thing in this building you didn't expect to see. There was also a huge silver turkey spice holder. It was almost the size of a real turkey. And my niece was the one that read it because they were just showing you the like 10 largest pieces of silver in the world or in Arizona. I don't know. But she was like, that's a spice holder. And I'm like, what? Are you fucking shitting me? Because it was all closed up, but it did have like a little latch on the front. So I don't know. It's like what you toted your spices around in. It was a silver giant turkey.
And it was portable?
I mean, it had to have been heavy. But
This is like a spice rack that you could like transfer around, or maybe you don't. Maybe you just put it somewhere.
well,
And
my only thing is, it's not like the spices would just be out and exposed. You had to open it up. So that's why I say portable,
okay,
like your Polly Pocket or whatever, and you take it with you. But
that's what I'm thinking.
Yeah.
Yes.
But it just looked like a turkey. It was really crazy.
That's funny.
Then there was old cars and wagons, and it was just really cool. But the thing I found the coolest out of the whole museum, the story I liked best, it was right up front on display. And then when I started telling more people and looked into it more, it could have been a complete hoax. It's like my dreams were crushed, but I'm going to tell you about it anyways. These are the Tucson artifacts, which created quite a sensation when they were discovered in the 1920s. They are over 30 crosses and other relics that were recovered after Charles Menier found the first Tucson artifacts sticking out of the gravel near an abandoned lime kiln beside Silver Bell Road in September of 1924. Charles took his finding to Dr. Frank H. Fowler, a Latin professor at the University of Arizona, who had no trouble translating them because they had writing all over them. But the story they tell is part of the reason why so many consider them to be counterfeit. According to the inscription, the people who made the crosses lived in the area from 790 until 900 AD. The crosses tell of conquering a Toltec city called Rodin, in which they expelled the king and captured over 700 people. There are several leaders listed with their length of reign and a report of civil war between two factions of a ruling hierarchy, in which 3,000 were killed. They recorded an earthquake, which actually did occur in 895 AD. After the discovery of the first piece, some of the university faculty began to help in the excavation of the remaining artifacts, and the process was well documented, including photographs and followed by the Tucson and Phoenix newspapers, and even a New York Times article was written about it. Wow. Some pieces were found as much as 5 feet below the surface of the ground. All of them are made of lead, except a smaller engraved stone, which was a memorial to a leader named Theodore, who his name actually shows up on some of the crosses as well. And then there was a larger boulder that just had an R on its surface. The lead that they're made out of is not highly refined, and different mixtures of tin, zinc, copper, gold, and silver are found in various pieces. According to some professors at the University of Arizona, at the time, the composition matched the lead from the old Yuma mine that was only about 10 minutes away. 10 miles
really?
Away. Sorry, 10 miles away. But if you drive really fast, you can probably do that.
Yes, sir.
But the fact that it matches the lead there doesn't mean that like somebody took it from that mine and made it, you know, some modern time person and then put it out there. Because those minerals have obviously been on this earth for a long time.
Sure.
So do these artifacts offer proof of Europeans in North America 700 years before Columbus? Some at the university seem to think so, and many of them were directly involved in the recovery of these relics. However, when Dean Byron Cummins, museum director, took some of the artifacts to the Smithsonian, they were dismissed by various authorities and labeled as fakes. Part of the reason was the language found on the crosses. It's from Latin primers, but there are some pieces that use abbreviations, or they're like things that you wouldn't find in that Latin primer. So is it like a slang? You know?
Right.
I don't know. They've never found it in any book before, though.
Were they running out of room on the cross and they're just like,
I would imagine
okay, that's the end of that word.
Yeah.
That's all that's going to fit here.
That's how I would look at it, but...
Maybe in Latin you couldn't do a dash and then, you know, go to the next line and continue like chiseling away into that lead cross. I mean, I don't know. I don't know how it works with Latin. If you put a dash, does it automatically summon Satan? So maybe they were like, no, this is the end of the word now.
They're like, no, you cannot do that. But everybody knows that's against the rules.
Right.
Also, there was some concern because on one of the swords, there was a couple of swords found, there was an animal that looked like a dinosaur. But some professors believe this is probably an interpretation of a symbol of like international trade of ancient seafaring people. You know, because they draw like dragons and serpents and shit.
Sure.
There were totally dinosaurs found in this area, though.
There are still dinosaurs found today. If you watch that Paranormal Caught on Camera, there are all kinds of things going on right now.
There are all kinds of things going on.
Right now. Mystery solved.
The end. This is totally possible.
Oh, you just sent me something?
Yeah, I sent you pictures of the artifacts.
This is awesome.
See why I was all like, wow, they found these in Tucson? This is amazing.
Yeah.
And nothing in the case tells you. Well, they allude that people thought it was a hoax, but then they're like, oh, but it's not. And I was like, yeah, so I'm telling everybody. And then they're like, Wikipedia says it's fake. And I was like, no.
You know, that's a lot like the America Stonehenge that's here in New Hampshire.
Mm-hmm.
Like, there's all of these stories about all of these things. Then you go to Wikipedia and they're like, it's bullshit.
Well, this is what I told to the person that looked up the story on Wikipedia and tried to send it to me. Like, here you go. They say it's fake. I said, yeah, I look up haunted locations on Wikipedia all the time and they try to say they're not haunted. So
right, exactly. Yeah.
Who doesn't know what they're talking about?
These are very interesting artifacts. I mean, and even if somebody faked it, these are elaborate. These aren't my kind of fakes. I mean, someone put some quality time into this whole thing. That serpent that's wrapping around and kind of dangling around the end there. I mean, it's got scales on it, dude.
Yeah, that took a lot of work.
Yeah, that's elaborate.
But also the fact that no habitation had been found in the area or a smelter that they would have used to make these, that also cast doubts on it being legit.
Someone could have brought it there.
Well, I mean, like, maybe we just haven't found it. I mean, did you dig up the whole area?
Oh, it's a desert.
And it all looks the same. So you're like, did
Right.
you dig in that spot? I don't know.
I don't know. Maybe, possibly, but we totally dug over there, right?
And
Sure.
the ground is hard as fucking, I mean, it's so hard. So it's
Yeah.
like nobody wants to do that work. They probably dug in one little section, pool size, and then they were like, done.
Yeah, that was enough work for me. And there was nothing there, so let's go home.
I don't know that for a fact, though. But
But according to Wikipedia, it's a fact.
so there is a doctor called Dr. E.C. Gottsinger. He is of the California Jewish Review. He claims that they're fakes. He's just throwing his 2 cents in. He has no idea. He didn't really examine them. But he says they're fakes. They were planted to be discovered by the followers of Joseph Smith, and the same rationale was used to discredit supposed Hebrew artifacts discovered in present-day Minnesota. So he just got on the phone and was like, nope, 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 this same thing happened in Minnesota. This is what it is. It's that dirty old Joseph Smith. So he's just pointing fingers. He wasn't actually there. He's never investigated it. But I've also read a few things where people were saying they just don't like to admit that there was Europeans ever here before Columbus because it would change so many things that they're just like, nope, 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 get out of here with that mess. That takes too much to think about. On too little of evidence, really. I mean, like, you got 30 pieces to challenge an entire history.
I bet if they had dug up more of the desert, they probably would have found the Holy Grail over there. And then those boys on the Curse of Oak Island can give up because it would have already been found in the Arizona desert.
Could be hiding here all along.
I think these artifacts are proof. I like them. I think they are artifacts. That's my 2 cents.
That's my 2 cents. I was ready to write a whole fictional novel about the 2 Romans that just went wild, decided to run away from home, and they decided to make a home here. And some crazy shit happened.
Some crazy shit happened.
And then a
I love these
dinosaur
2
ate
Romans,
them. The end.
obviously. And that's
It
it.
had been chasing them all this time.
And if they had done their digging up, the dinosaur bones would be right there too. It's like there's everything. And then you can say, Smithsonian, kiss my buns, because here it was.
All along.
Not phony baloney. The Latins just ran out of room. So there.
Why couldn't they have slang or something? They moved away from their home country, whatever.
Yeah,
So
so they could've
dialect's going to change.
Yes.
That's
For
all
sure.
that was. This is logical. I'm telling you what I'm saying. These people, that's not good excuses. And there's a lot of people that still feel that way too. However, after news of the rejection was reported in Tucson, officials suspended all research and the artifacts were returned to the finder's family. They were basically forgotten until Thomas Bent Jr. brought them to the Arizona Historical Society Museum and then put them on display.
Wow.
But what would motivate someone, like you said this earlier, to spend the time, expense, and labor to create such an extensive collection of artifacts? Not to mention, they would have had to have had somewhere around 150 pounds of lead to do this.
Just laying around.
Yeah, just laying around. And no one ever profited from these discoveries.
There you go.
I mean, yeah, there were some articles written, but nobody got paid to write those articles. That was just the news, reporting the news. But in the absence of further investigation, it seems at present impossible to confirm or deny the authenticity of these items. And there doesn't seem to be enough people willing to put their reputation at stake to give it consideration. So the Tucson artifacts may very well be fakes. I don't know. I still want to write my fictional novel about the two Romans that ran away, but...
You know, I was just thinking, again, going back to the possibility of slang or, you know, a different dialect. When you come out to Boston, ours just mysteriously disappear off of words. I mean, that could have happened on those crosses and things like that. It could definitely be the change in dialect that drove them to, you know, changing the way that they would have chiseled words into lead.
100%. Even in English in the United States, they say it's so hard to learn because everybody says fucking shit differently. So don't tell me, oh, that's not what was in the books. Well, we changed a lot of words from the English that the British have to what we do now. So, I mean, they came over here and they developed their own thing.
Yeah, and they ran with it.
But also, I have to argue, people want to say these are fakes, look at them, anybody could have made them or something if they really wanted to put the time into it. However, there are artifacts that have been found out of place throughout the world that have challenged what we know about history. Or possibly even suggested high-tech prehistoric civilizations existed. So, here is a quick list. It's quick, I promise.
I'm fine. I'm sitting right here.
It's of 15 of the most infamous artifacts that have been found. Now remember, according to conventional view of history, humans have only walked the earth in our present form for some 200,000 years. Advanced civilization appears several thousand years ago, but much of the mechanical innovation we know in modern times began to develop only around the Industrial Revolution, a couple of hundred years ago. Somehow, though, these prehistoric objects exist and haven't been labeled as fakes like the ones in Tucson.
Interesting.
Many scientists attempt to explain them using natural phenomenon. Others say such explanations ignore the mounting evidence that prehistoric civilizations possessed advanced technological knowledge, mouthful for me, sorry, that was lost throughout the ages only to be redeveloped in modern times. Because that's what some people like to say. The Romans, they couldn't have come over here. They wouldn't have had the ability. They wouldn't have known to do that. How do you know that? There are plenty of people that say that they find these ancient civilizations that have been sunken under the water. And they have irrigation systems and they have roads and things like that. People were still farming mud over in other parts of the world or whatever. You know, they weren't doing these things. So they had one brainiac in the group that came up with all this cool shit. And then somehow it just got forgotten over time until people learn this stuff again. Or there's another brainiac.
Well, and if you watch like ancient civilizations or ancient aliens, then they're going to tell you the reason why those people couldn't. Yes.
That was the next thing out of my mouth. Of course, there's always our buddies, the aliens, that could have just dropped this shit off and then kind of vamped out, forgot they even left it here. Maybe they were in a hurry. I mean, I leave stuff places all the time. So an alien could have totally done that. It's a real bummer, but it does happen.
And it's going to be a relic one day.
So anyways, first up is some 2,000-year-old batteries that were discovered.
Oh my God.
They are clay jars with asphalt stoppers and iron rods and have been proven capable of generating more than a volt of electricity. These ancient batteries were found by German archaeologist Wilhelm. I'm not going to say any of these names right. So I don't know how we're going to get through this, but it's like K-Nahak. So we'll just move ahead.
But his last name wasn't Duracell, obviously.
No. That would be easy to say. That would be great. I wish it was. He found them in 1938, just outside of Baghdad, Iraq. An expert at the British Museum told the BBC in 2003 that they seem to have been like a one-off. Like I said, an alien just dropped them off because they've never found anything else like it in that area or the world. Like, wow. Oops, where did I put my fucking batteries as they sail away in their spaceship?
That, or it's like, Iron Man didn't actually make it out of that cave, but he was in there making batteries.
It was one of his earlier prototypes.
Yeah.
Then there is the ancient Egyptian light bulb, which is seen in a relief beneath the Temple of Hathor at Dedera, Egypt. I'm struggling, guys, but I have to tell you about these cool things, even if I can't pronounce shit. In this relief, it depicts figures standing around a large light bulb object. Eric von Dieharker.
God bless you.
Yeah, sorry. He created a model of the bulb in the picture, which worked when connected to a power source, emanating an eerie purplish light. So the light bulb itself wasn't actually found, just a drawing of it, like on the walls,
Yeah.
But, how did they know that was going to work? And they diaried their day all on those walls.
Yeah, they did. Yeah. Clearly they were on some sort of psychedelics, because if they're making...
purplish lights?
Yeah. What was it when we were working at Party City and you had those blue lights all around?
Light, yeah.
Black light, that's what it was. He said it was a purplish glow. Mm-hmm. So they were making black lights.
Yeah.
Yes.
They were into psychedelics, right?
Yeah. Drawn on the walls. That's all.
That's all they did all day.
Yeah. They were
Graffiti.
Artists.
Yeah.
They had their own versions of Grateful Dead music playing, jamming out.
Next is the Great Wall of Texas. In 1852, in what is known as Rockwall County, Texas, farmers digging a well discovered what appeared to be an ancient rock wall, estimated to be some 200,000 to 400,000 years old. Some say it's a natural formation. When we talk about rocks, we're thinking about the moon again here and how we can see things like Arches National Park in Utah. Rocks can make some strange shapes, but...
A whole wall.
A whole wall, plus geologist James Shelton and Harvard-trained architect John Lindsay have noted elements that seem to be an architectural design, including archways and square openings, like for doors or windows.
I saw a whole thing on TV about that. That blew my mind.
Oh, you saw the wall? Okay, so it was in a documentary on the History Channel, but at the end of that, they said that they found that the structure was all magnetized the same way, suggesting that they were not brought there and built up, that they've been there the whole time.
Right.
I didn't watch it, but in what I read about this, they tried to say that, nah, it's not man-made. But it was the geologist and architect that's like, no, yes, it is.
That's cool, man. I thought that was crazy. Like, seeing something like that, I don't know, kind of scares the shit out of you. You just don't really know what's underneath the ground.
Yeah.
So you start going and digging it up, and then all of a sudden it's a huge wall. Why is this here? What the hell? Wow.
Yeah. And it has to be on their property. I imagine they're digging a well for their property. Yeah. It's kind of like when people say they buy houses, and then all of a sudden they find like hidden rooms and shit.
Yes.
And they're like, what? This has been the whole time. That's kind of crazy.
Yeah. Kind of creepy.
So fourth on the list is the 1.8 billion year old nuclear reactor.
Oh, it's my truck. Yes.
Well, this one was pretty scientific for me to follow, so bear with me here. Right. But it's in 1972. A French factory wants to import uranium ore from Oklo in Africa's Gabon Republic. But the uranium had already been extracted, though. They found the site where they got this uranium from had apparently functioned as a large-scale nuclear reactor that was in operation for some 500,000 years.
That's nuts.
I mean, so it looks like a cave or something, basically. It's not like it looks like a machine necessarily, but it was acting as like, I don't know. I mean, and then rock can form over like a period of time over things. So it'll harden and change like that. So, I mean, they're not breaking apart on it except for taking like little samples to test it to know its age and everything like that.
I want a piece of that rock.
Dr. Glenn T. Seaborg, former head of the United States Atomic Energy Commission and Nobel Prize winner, stands behind the idea that this is not a product of natural phenomenon and thus must be a man-made nuclear reactor. I'm not going to go into the full explanation of why he thinks that, but the main idea is that he says for uranium to burn in a reaction, they need very precise conditions. The water must be extremely pure, for one, much purer than exists naturally. And this material called U-235 is necessary for nuclear fission to occur. But several specialists in reactive engineering have said they believe that the uranium in Oklo could not have been rich enough in this U-235 for a reaction to take place naturally, that something had to help the process along. So, an alien nuclear reactor, obviously.
Obviously. As soon as you start going into letters and numbers, I know that it's got some government cover-up shit. Like, it's immediately like, oh, U-235, I'm researching the shit out of this one next.
So then there's the seafaring map displaying Antarctica before it was covered in ice. There was a map created by Turkish admiral and cartographer Peri Reis in 1513, but he made it from sources of various earlier maps. And this is thought by some to depict Antarctica as it was in a very remote age before it was covered with ice.
Oh.
See, it has a landmass on it shown to connect like Antarctica and South America. That's fine. Most people all think that we were all one and then it just broke apart, right?
Yeah.
So Captain Lazario, love that name.
That's his first name?
Lazario, yeah.
That's great.
Barros of the U.S. Air Force wrote a letter to Dr. Charles Hapgood in 1961 saying that the landmass seems to be accurately showing Antarctica's coast as it is under the ice. So they're saying, yeah, no, actually, we think that there is some land just like this, just way down underneath there.
Okay. How did this dude know that?
How did he know that in that time when it should have already been covered in ice?
Yeah.
So where is he getting his information from? This Dr. Charles says that these maps seem to depict Antarctica during prehistoric times. And this guy is like, he is a Harvard-educated historian. He's wrote theories about shifting of the continents, you know.
Yeah.
Albert Einstein was a big fan of his work, but a lot of people are like, you're crazy. That's not possible.
Yeah.
So again, like we just said, have this map drawer know how to do that.
Have you ever seen Transformers? You know? Remember his like super awesome Explorer Grandpappy Wiki or something like that?
Wiki.
And then it got like engraved into the glasses.
There
So
you
maybe some crazy shit like that. I mean, it's sci-fi all around, man.
Yeah. Some alien force told him about it, or he's a time traveler.
Oh.
But would people have existed then? A time traveling caveman? No, a time traveler
smart
that went
ass.
back to cave times. Oh, that's
Yeah,
right.
yeah. Wow.
But next there is the 2,000-year-old earthquake detector. In 132 AD,
Stop.
yeah, way back,
Oh my God.
there was a seismoscope, if I'm saying
Yes.
it right, discovered. How it exactly works remains a mystery.
But it predicts earthquakes.
But it did accurately record an earthquake that occurred about 3,000 miles west from where it was at. Nobody in the town felt it. The machine recorded it, though, and the only reason that they knew that it happened was because a messenger came from that town 3 days later, was requesting aid. Like, hey, we had this earthquake. Can you send some help, you know? And they're like, what? We thought this machine was just going crazy for no reason. How
Wow. Do they have that machine in operation today somewhere? Just
No, I think it must be in a museum
That's
because
too
the picture I saw of it, it looked like it was behind glass and whatnot. But I don't know
Oh.
because they used to put the one that was in the Pink Palace behind glass. So
Shoot.
maybe they are still using it.
They need to get that old ass battery and that old ass seismograph together and just let them do their thing. And then just, keep it in a facility somewhere, and watch it.
Yeah.
That's crazy.
And then maybe the alien forces that put it here on Earth will come and, no, I actually think for this one, somebody just really knew their shit and made this thing. And then, like I said, once that guy dies out, everybody around him's like, I don't know how he built the shit that he did.
Yeah. I don't know. He rounded up all the crystals. See, there's no more crystals anywhere. So they're in there.
I mean, they
think.
can't even figure out how it works now. So I mean, like, they just know that it's working. I'm not saying it's alien. I'm just saying that guy was super fucking smart.
Oh.
They do give his name. There's just no way I could actually repeat it back to you.
Seismograph man.
Yeah.
Got it.
So the next artifact is a rerun for this podcast because we have mentioned it before in our Phoenix Lights episode, but it's just such a good one that I got to bring it up again. This is the 150,000-year-old pipes that are found in a cave in China.
Love these.
These pipes lead to a nearby lake, and they were dated by the Beijing Institute of Geology to be 150,000 years old. The state-run media even reported on these pipes, and they were analyzed at a local smelter and found out that 8% of the material in the pipes couldn't be even identified. They don't know what it's made of.
No. I remember when you brought that up on the episode and
Yeah,
I had to halt the podcast so that I could start reading about this.
Yeah, they're pretty interesting. And they even have found out that the pipes are highly radioactive, which is super strange because they wanted to try to say, okay, we think we see a way how these were naturally formed.
Yep.
The iron-rich magma from deep in the earth came up and it then solidified and it made these tubes, right? That's what happened.
Yeah, sure.
But even the people that came up with that answer were like, yeah, that radioactivity thing is still throwing us off though.
Yeah.
So that's weird.
Yeah, there's this one caveat.
Yeah. They're like, we were so close and nope, it's alien. Never mind.
Nope, it's alien. Never mind. Pretty much.
So number 8 on the list is the Antikythera mechanism.
Okay.
It's a mechanism that's often referred to as an antique computer. It was built by the Greeks around 150 BC.
Hewlett Packard was around back then?
Time travelers, man, I'm telling you.
Wow.
It was able to calculate astrological changes with great precision. This mechanism includes ingenious features that are not even found in modern watches today. So, What the fuck is it?
Yeah, and
Now,
where is it?
They didn't really talk about how it necessarily works and how it's doing all that, but I think that is what is kind of stumping them to begin with.
Yeah, sure. Where'd they find this?
It didn't actually say. Some guy just walked in with it.
Whoa! Can I get a value on this?
So he walked into an antique store trying to get some money, hawking it.
Yeah. Guy walks into an antique store.
And they're like, where'd you find this? I can't remember.
I can't tell you. I mean, I can't remember.
They say it was built by the Greeks. Maybe it was founded in Greece? I don't know. Is that how that
my
works?
God. Yeah, it was built by a god. That's why it's so highly precise.
It was Zeus's calculator.
There we go.
So then there is a drill bit that was found in coal. Doesn't sound that exciting, I know. Not like some Zeus's calculator, but there's a bit more to it. John Buchanan Esquire presented a mysterious object to a meeting of the Society of Antiquities of Scotland on December 13, 1852. This drill bit had been found encapsulated in coal about 22 inches thick. The coal was 22 inches thick. Then it was also buried in a bed of clay mixed with boulders about 7 feet thick. The Earth's coal is said to have formed hundreds of millions of years ago. The society decided that the instrument was of modern level advancement. And then some people tried to say it must have just broke off and fell down there and got caught in the coal somehow.
Got caught in the coal somehow. Yeah, this was like Zeus's garage.
So Buchanan's detailed report did not include any sign that the coal surrounding the instrument had been punctured by drilling. So, I mean, if it dropped in there, who was working in that area for it to have dropped off? There's no proof of work.
No, he just was there, found the perfect spot for it. He's like, you know what would fit in this spot right here so perfectly? Let me just off my drill, and right there it goes. And that's it.
So next up is 2.8 billion year old spears. These spears have fine grooves around them. They were found in a mine in South Africa.
Wow.
Many people think that they formed naturally and they're just a mass of mineral material. Others have said they were too precisely shaped, so they believe they were made by some prehistoric human hand. The globes, which have a fibrous structure on the inside with a shell around it, are very hard and cannot be scratched, even by steel.
Oh, they're made of diamonds?
They look like they're made of wood, but
Oh.
I mean, I guess it's some kind of rock, but they have that kind of color to them. They definitely don't look like a diamond. Though, don't diamonds look ugly until you do something to them?
I think so.
Yeah, I
Yeah,
think so.
you have to polish them and grind them.
Yeah. Smooth them down or something. I don't know. Whatever this mineral mass is, though, it's unclear of how it would have formed, though.
And they don't know what the mineral is either.
No, they just say mineral mass, just a mix of stuff. I don't know. You know,
It's a
just
mutt.
garbage.
It's just a perfectly formed
Hard as fucking steel garbage.
garbage weapon. Yeah, okay.
It's like an alien's toys, basically.
Oh,
Their croquette set or whatever. What's the thing called?
yeah, croquet. Yeah,
Yeah.
okay. But instead, aliens use them to bzzz to your skull with them.
They're bashing people over the head with them.
They're trying to find out why we're playing croquet with them.
They're doing it all wrong.
Right. This is not what you do.
Then here's another artifact that we have previously mentioned on this podcast. This one from our Aliens on the Moon episode. And
I
that
wrote it
is
down.
the Iron Pillar of New Delhi. This pillar is at least 1,500 years old, but could be older. It remains rust-free and is of an astonishing purity. It is 99.72% iron, according to Professor A.P. Gupta, head of the Department of Applied Science and Humanities at the Institute of Technology and Management in India. In modern times, wrought iron has been made with a purity of 99.8%, but it contains manganese and sulfur, two ingredients absent in this pillar. It was made at least 400 years before the largest known formery could have produced it. And of course, nobody knows who built it or how it got there.
Yeah. And it's got all that writing and stuff on it, too. It's so weird.
Who did that?
Yeah, I love that. Yeah, as soon as you started talking about these relics, I'm like, okay, well, she's going to have to talk about this.
Yeah.
So I wrote it down. I'm like, I want to ask her if she doesn't bring it up.
I was really disappointed to not find the aluminum from Romania on this most infamous list of artifacts, but I thought about adding it, but I didn't make the list, and that's not fair. So
It's your own list. You can make it however you want to.
I am most impressed by that, but whatever. So next is the Viking sword of Elfberg.
The Elfberg?
The Elfberg. When you Google it, I think a lot of video games will come up as well. So I don't know if it's used in that or what. But when archaeologists found the Viking sword of Elfberg, they dated it somewhere between 800 to 1000 AD. And this thing stunned them because it is made in such a way that they just don't believe was possible back in those times. Like,
Wow.
It's made like something that would have had to have come after the Industrial Revolution.
Oh.
Its carbon content is 3 times higher than any other sword that has ever been found in this time. And impurities were removed to such a degree that the iron ore must have been heated to at least 3,000 degrees Fahrenheit. Like, I don't know how hot a fire gets, and I don't think it's hard to make one of those like brick ovens, but I don't know if it's like 3,000 degrees.
No. So if you use those brick ovens to make your fancy, amazing pizzas,
Yeah.
that thing would disintegrate. I mean, there's no way.
There was somebody that tried to remake this sword, but they tried to use like just the tools that they would have in the Middle Ages.
Yeah.
They said it was extremely complicated, and they ended up having to use methods that would have not been known at that time. Not that they know of, at least.
Jeez. Now, I just assume that any kind of oven like that, you know, where you are making a pizza, it's only going to get as hot as like your kitchen oven, right? So like maybe 400 degrees, I guess. I don't know. We're talking 3,000 degrees Fahrenheit.
That's a lot.
You couldn't even get near it. You'd be like, oh, no.
You'd have to have the longest like little tongue thing to hold it there. Imagine
and you got to put it in and pull
dropped
right back
it,
out.
and you were like, well, I can't fucking go over there to pick it up now.
All the pizzas that are laying around the oven, just like, eh. All the sad pizzas.
Then all the bodies of ashes from the people that tried to go recover the pizza.
That was my last stick of pepperoni.
Oh, fuck. Next is the million-year-old bridge. According to ancient Indian legend, King Rama built a bridge between India and Sri Lanka more than 1 million years ago. What appears to be remnants of such a bridge have been seen from satellite images, but many say it's just a natural formation. So it's under the ocean, and they're just like, what's that? That looks like a line connecting these two places.
Oh.
But people are like, no, it's just rocks and you're just seeing things. A former director of the Geological Survey of India studied core samples from the bridge. He was puzzled by the appearance of boulders on top of the marine sand layer, and he surmised that the boulders must have been artificially placed there.
Okay.
However, no single explanation has been agreed upon with this bridge. So, I mean, because it could be possible that you're seeing things of all these rocks collecting, but at the same time, there are some people that are like, that doesn't make sense. Yeah. I guess it's like Stonehenge. You're like, yeah, they're rocks, but like they're really big rocks.
Yeah,
so
how
how'd
did
they get
that
there and positioned that way?
Exactly.
And also dating the bridge has been really hard because it's so long and everything. So taking samples from like each pieces is just like they've not gotten like a cohesive answer.
Okay.
Lastly, there is a wall of rock under the ocean. This is off the coast of the Bahamas. It was found in 1968. Archaeologist William Donato has conducted multiple dives to investigate the wall and hypothesized it is a man-made structure some 12,000 to 19,000 years old, built to protect a prehistoric settlement from waves. He's found it to be a multi-tiered structure, including prop stones that appear to be placed there by human hands. He's also found what he believes to be an anchor stone with rope holes in them, like for boats to come up and anchor themselves. But Dr. Eugene Shin, a retired geologist who worked for the U.S. Geological Survey, has said core rock samples he took show a dip towards the deep water. If all the cores show a dip towards deep water, this would prove the rock formed where it is and not that it was brought from somewhere else and built up. In his later writings, he said, yeah, all the samples show a dip. It's a natural formation. But in earlier studies, he stated that only 25% of the samples show a dip. So, Dr. Greg Little, a psychologist who has taken an interest in the structures, confronted Shin about this, and Shin admitted he didn't really take his study seriously. He got a little carried away just to make a good story. So, it's
good
like, okay, didn't realize we could just make up scientific facts.
Yeah, right.
And kind of leaves you wondering how many of these other studies are skeptics saying, no, it's not what you think it is, have just fallen asleep on the job and just were in a rush to get their homework assignments done.
Yeah, rush to get out the door and go home and make their pizza. You know, it's like, no, they just check the box and says, no, it's not real. Goodbye.
Yeah, no, just it can't be possible. But then to just make up stuff to go along with it to fit with their theory is like
Yeah.
real obnoxious. Like if you're not going to try, just, you don't have to be here, basically.
Yeah, that's
you can
not cool.
go get a job at Blockbuster. You don't have to be like the geologist studying on this project.
But you can't anymore, Wendy. There's no more Blockbusters
I
around.
saw a TikTok the other day that somebody found one. I think it was a hoax as well. That's a relic that just cannot be out there. But I can't find the TikTok anymore. So, anyways. It's government secret. What did they do with all the Blockbusters?
Same thing they did with the Toys R Us's.
Oh, hey, I did see something. Oh, it's on that This Paranormal Life podcast. One of their episodes is titled A Seance at a Toys R Us.
Wow.
But I've yet to listen to it. I'll listen to it. I'll tell you about it next time we record, okay? I'll tell you which
fun.
Toys R Us it is haunted. Well, they're all haunted now because they ghost out.
Yeah, they run them out to spirits, so...
So either way, there are some pretty interesting items here on this list and out there in the world that I think leave us feeling oh so small because there's still just so much we don't know. This was only a scratch on the surface when it comes to those types of discoveries. So if you know of any others, please share them with us because we love to hear about this shit. It's fascinating as hell. You can write to us at creaturesofthenightparanormal@gmail.com, or you can hit us up on any of our forms of social media, which are listed below in the show notes. If you like the show, tell us. You can do that by rating and reviewing. And remember to like and subscribe so that you get notifications when new shows release. You can do this on whatever podcast app you are using, or you can go to our YouTube channel, which is COTN Paranormal, and follow us there. We release a lot of videos from the show, as well as just videos from spooky little explorings that we do throughout the week. One last thing, we do all this because it's fun for us. And we enjoy the interaction with other people when we get talking about these stories. But it would be nice if you could help support the show and visit our shop, The Spirit Emporium, on Etsy. We've got some podcast gear there as well as handmade, with love, spiritual products. And that's it. That's all I got for you.
You know, when you were doing that last one and you kept talking about dip, like I was just waiting like so much for you to be like, you put your hand up on my hip. When I dip, you dip, we dip. Is she going to bust out with that? Because it was like every other word was dip. And I'm just like, here it comes. And the scientist went home. And when he got on his car, guess what magnificent orchestral music was playing out of his radio?
Do you think that that's where he got the idea to make up the whole thing about the whole...
Yes.
He's like, oh, I like that song, man.
Like
it's
that.
stuck in my head.
Right? Yes.
And then they just make shit up. And they're like, we are the experts. Boom.
Boom. Done and done. And then we can dance on home. No, this is an incredible list because it really does help to open up your eyes to all of the crazy shit that is really legitimately out there in the world. Regardless of if it does happen to be man-made, we don't know. That's what Wendy's trying to put out there. These things are yet to be completely explored. There's people on both sides of the fence saying, yes, 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 or no, no, no. And then you have things that are being scientifically researched. And then all of a sudden it's like, yeah, we have the answer to this. Oh, but then there's radiation. It's like every little thing that could get thrown into the mix. There are these odd things out there and the possibilities are endless as to how they actually got there.
Yeah. So, I got excited about those Tucson artifacts and then somebody wanted to immediately shoot me down and be like, no, that's not what history says. And it's like, yeah, you do know all about these like alien things that people find, right? Like they truly exist. And okay, maybe these Tucson artifacts was somebody just trying to get attention for the city or something, just trying to bring in tourism or something. But these other things do exist. And this list, nobody's been able to certify it's fake, it's not real, it's completely 100% natural. And so these types of things do exist, these oddities in the world.
they're awesome, these oddities that are out there in the world. You know, it kind of reminds me of the Loch Ness Monster became such a big, huge deal, right? So they had shot a movie of the Loch Ness Monster, right? And they had to use a prop because you can't get the Loch Ness Monster to come out and do his thing when they want him to. You know, he's so shy. So they used a prop. Well, the funny thing is that they lost the prop. He's gone. And then like hundreds of years later, they're like, people are like, oh my God, it's the Loch Ness Monster. Turns out the prop came back up from where the depths that it had been to. So, I mean, some of these things do have logical explanations for them. But when we're going back to, 10,000 years to 20,000 years AD, this and that, come on, man. I mean, people didn't have the technologies back then, to the best of my knowledge, to make sea serpents in the ocean back then. Where is this technology coming from? It's insane.
Yeah, it's really cool. It just makes you think. And we don't have the answers. We're not on the level of any of these scientists and stuff, but they seem to be a little lost on the situation as well. So it's just cool. Yeah. I thought it was just fun. That's always cool. We don't have any answers. We don't really know. It's aliens. It's, really, really smart people. Who knows? Or it's natural. I don't know.
Or it's natural. This is a paranormal podcast. So, I mean, we're basically just here to talk about all the weird shit that's out there in the world. And, you be your own judge, scientific expert, if you will. You make the call.
Yeah. You can be like me and just think anything's possible.
Yeah.
And it's aliens. I just blame everything on them.
It's easier that way. It's alien. No, that was great. I love lists. So anytime you want to do a show.
I know my last one was lists, and then I was like, a list again. So I'm going to keep this going and see what other lists I can come up with.
These are the best known toilet paper brands out there.
Well, Number 10. Somewhat paranormal. So. How do they make them so great?
There you go. And that's how it's paranormal.
They are so soft. It must be alien. That's the next podcast. Thanks for helping me with that one. Because I do look for suggestion, guys.
There you go. That's why she says to write to us at creaturesofthenight@gmail.com. So you don't have episodes about toilet paper.
Anyways, yep, that's all we got for you. So that's it. Bye.
Thanks. Bye.